Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. Today we are going to be stamping a one-sheet wonder and then cutting it up to make 4 cards. So out here on the desk is all of the inks we're going to be using. Just a few, 9, so it's not too many. So we're going to move some of this off to the side so that it is out of my way. We are going to be using a stamp set from the celebration, which can be earned with a $300 party. So if you spend $300 by yourself, you can get this perfect pomegranate set for free. If you host a party and have over $300, you could get that. Or if you go together with several friends and put an order in, you can get this with $300. Now this is on top of the $150 gift. So if you had a $300 party, you could pick out the items totaling $300 out of the beginning of the book, which is like the hippos and the papers, and still get this on top of it. Hopefully I explained that correctly. So also, just so you know, if you go to my online store, they have added about 10 other items you can get for $50 and $100 gifts for those purchases. So please visit there for more information on the additional items that have been added through August 31st, 2022. So the stamp set we're using is Perfect Pomegranate. There is no verbiage in this stamp set. It's quite pretty. I had to do a little bit of research to find out what color a pomegranate flower should be. And I know what a pomegranate is supposed to look like, but had to do a little more work on that. So we're using this stamp. We are not using all the stamps. We're using all those, not the ones I'm covering. The bottom 3 we're not using. We also are going to be using Forever Fern. We're using this stamp out of Forever Fern. I wanted it for the texture. And then when we make the cards, as you know, I'm always in need of birthday cards. We're going to be using Happy Birthday out of Art Gallery. So let's get started. First, we are going to get some basic white and some stamp mats, because these are photopolymer stamps. I have already got all my stamps prepped over here. And the first one we're going to put on is, not that one, is the leaves. And I decided to make the leaves Old Olive. At least the first set of leaves, I should say. So we're going to ink the ink pad up. And now it looks a little mottled, and it is the texturing in the stamp. The stamp is fine. It's just the way the stamp was designed, so you get that detail in there. And we'll do this one here. You will see me go quiet when I'm stamping these because I tend to concentrate on what I'm doing. Oop. But when we get done, we'll make 4 cards out of this. And the reason I'm moving this over is I want this in the middle, but I've got a seam there in my stamp mats. I do have 2 stamp mats under here. You can do it with 1. It's a little easier with 2. And I think that's going to be it for that one. And normally I would go ahead and clean them, but I've just got a little pile area I'm going to pile these into while we're going. Next, we are going to do the flower, and we are going to be doing the flower in Calypso Coral. This is the closest color I could find to what actual pomegranate flower looks like. And in watching videos and stuff about what pomegranates look like, I discovered that our pomegranate flower is a female, which means it has the bulb where the pomegranate will actually grow. Learned more about pomegranates than I ever knew before. It's always fun to go out and research what you're going to be working on. And I'm hooking that right into the little green stalks here and sort of rotating it around a little bit. And I will move things around as I need them. I find it easier to move the paper than trying to reposition the stamp all the time. And I missed the stem a little bit there, but that's okay, because you probably won't even notice it when we get done. Now these I'm turning a little more. So I'm trying not to run into the flowers across from it. And that is our last flower of that type. Then we're going to add a little more. We're going to go ahead and add in our pomegranates now. Now we're not putting a full pomegranate on all this, because the pomegranate to me was just a little too overbearing for the card. But we're going to use sections of the pomegranate. I'm actually using cherry cobbler for this. It looks to be the closest to the pomegranate I have sitting in the kitchen. And I want to take and use the top part as much so people can see what it was. And we'll just pop a couple around here on the sides, different directions. Keep in mind, no one's going to get the whole piece. They're only going to get a quarter of this. And you see why I have the paper on my stamping mat. That way my stamping mat doesn't get destroyed with ink. And that should work. That should give enough on everybody's. Next, we're going to throw in some Mossy Meadow. Now this one comes with a couple stamp things here. And so we're going to throw a little Mossy Meadow in. Now, I just made the mistake here. When you do, and you just want to add additional leaves, you want to make sure you don't ink up the stem here. Because if you do, then you're going to have an extra long stem. And we're just going to tick these in. So you set your stem at the edge of the stamp pad. Let's see if you can see where I'm setting that there. And there's plants, a few of these threes around here, a little bit. A couple off here. Now, if you try to reproduce one, no two will ever turn out the same because you're individually stamping them, which makes it sort of neat. This one we're going to come off a little bit. Oh, let's put a 3-1 right about here. That looks pretty good for now. We'll always come back if we need to. Now we got the one with 2. So once again, I'm not stamping up the stem. And we're just stamping over the other ones to give it depth and different textures. And you can pick out your own colors, you know, this is a way to be very creative. I started doing One Sheet Wonders maybe about 2 years ago. I watched another demonstrator out of Wales. Her name is Ruth Trice. She has a stamp, it's called Artful Stamping with Ruth. And this is sort of where I learned how to do this. And I am not an expert in this field. She is, but like I said, her YouTube channel is Artful Stamping with Ruth. And she has lots of examples on there, but I'm still learning. But I felt brave to try to do this on live camera today. So we've got that part. Now we need to add a little bit more floral this. So I looked at using this stamp here, which comes with the set, and I thought we would add some Poppy Parade in there. It's a little contrast between the pinks and the reds, and we're going to be stamping off 3 times, well, twice, sorry. And we'll just do little overlapping clusters, just a couple. And we'll do another one down here. It doesn't have to be uniform, but I didn't want to add too many of these because I want to come back and add some Flirty Flamingo ones. And so I do need my scrubber. And many of you have seen me use this. You scrub on the wet side, dry it off on the dry side. It's freshly washed, so it's nice and clean. I've been doing a lot of stamping, and so it has to have a bath every once in a while. And if you're interested, I use a little Dawn dishwash, wash it out, scrub all the ink out of it. After I've rinsed it a little bit, rinse it thoroughly and set it in the backyard to dry in the sun. I did that last night, and this morning it's perfect. And of course, if it's winter time and you can't set it out in the sun to dry, setting it in the shower or the bathtub works too. So let's put a couple more of the Flirty Flamingo in here. And the colors are not far off. They're very muted, but I just wanted to add a little more color in here. And if we go a little over the other flowers, it's okay. It won't hurt anything. Because I did not start with a background stamp on this. I wanted to be very pure about that. Let's add one here. And one there. I sort of like them tucked in here. That looks pretty good for now. Like we said, we can always come back and add more. Okay, next we are going to go for the centers of the flowers. Now the center on this is just very tiny little dots. And I discovered that you gotta hit each flower a couple times to fill it in. I looked around my stamp sets to find something a little bit larger, but I couldn't find anything that really worked for this. Just do a couple of dots. You can stamp off too. I'm using Daffodil Delight on this. All the dimensions and all the supplies I used will be listed in my the description bar below. And also is a link to my online store if you need supplies and you don't have a demonstrator. I'd love to be yours. And I'm just concentrating away here, adding my dots just to fill in a little more color into those. And some are going over, but that's okay. So once you see what we're going to do in the next step, you'll understand. Okay, I think I've got them all covered up with some yellow now. Whoa, excuse me. I am now yellow. That's part of stamping. Next, we are going to use this stamp. Now, this is not a photopolymer, so we are going to temporarily get rid of the mats. And we are going to, and you're all going to be out there going, what's she doing? We're going to add Soft Succulent to this. I wanted texture. I wanted a blue, greeny color. Just sort of bounce off all the reds and the other green. Once again, we're not going to do the stem. No stem. This is where your hands really get dirty, because I use mine to wipe off the ink. And we are going to put a cluster, and we're going right in here into the greens. And add that in. And we're going to one on this side. And we are going to tuck one right back up in here. I think it just adds something, a little extra something to it. It just, I like to break it up a little bit. Keep in mind, no one's going to see the whole thing. They're only going to see a piece of it. But there is some of this. You could actually make some that are quite beautiful. I have one I have tried to frame a while back. And I gave it away to somebody, so you can frame these. I've seen 12 by 12s done that were absolutely gorgeous. So now we got that done, and I decided we needed to carry this out to the sides. Keep in mind, you got to decorate the sides. Now I'm going to grab a piece of scratch paper I have sitting over here, because now I'm going off the sides, and I don't want to get ink all over my mat here. Just get a little bit on the sides. Just carry that through. I'm not doing the whole thing. We're just doing a little bit, just so it adds a little something extra there. And I think that's enough of that. So now we look at it and see, is there something we're missing? Too big an open area. I think this is a little large, so let's grab back that Flirty Flamingo. I don't want to go with the Poppy Parade in there, so let's just do a little more Flirty Flamingo right here. Add a little more. Just go one there on that one. We'll do, oop. No, and I know you're all yelling at me, Lori, you didn't put the mats back. And I noticed when I did that last one I did, but it'll be fine. Like I said, you don't have to stamp twice all the time. It's just what you want to accomplish in your picture. But I do like to leave a little white space, which when we get done, it won't be white. Let's go back to the yellow real quick. And doctor up a few of these centers. You can always come back. You know, less is more. Put less on, then come back. But once you put it down, you either have to find a way to hide it if you make a mistake. But that's half the fun. It's constating. Once you cut it up, you're going to go, what's this really going to look like? This is a pretty simple one I'm making today. Oh, do we have all the spots covered up? I think so. Now, in the two sets, which I have to get the stamp sets out because I did forget to grab this, there is dottage. This is some really harsh dottage, and I'll show you what it looks like here on my test. This is my test sheet. This is where I was testing and using the stamps together and seeing what they look like before I actually started working. And to me, the dottage on this was just a little too harsh for what I wanted. And you can also see where I was trying on all the different colors to figure out which colors would work. Definitely not that one. That's Rich Raspberry. That's Merly Merlot. Cherry Cobbler turned out to be the best. I even tried blending some colors together and I decided no. So, you know, if you're going to play with a stamp set, do a little research on what the flowers look like, if you don't know, like I didn't. And then play around with the stamps first a little bit to see, you know, what your colors are, you know, until you get going at it, then it'll be easier. So anyhow, this dottage was too harsh, so I decided I wanted to use the dottage from Forever Fern, which is a more delicate dottage. It's not as harsh. And I did not get it out of the box when I was setting everything up. So let's find a block to put this on. Get more ink on me. And let me clean this up real quick. I don't want yellow on my block. And we'll get the dotted. Get the dottage in the middle. Now we're back to non-photopolymers, so we'll just get rid of that. You could stamp on the mat with this, but I prefer not to. We're going to use Crumb Cake now. And you're going to, if you've never seen one of these done, you're going to cringe. But don't. And I need my scratch piece of paper back. And we are just going to rotate and stamp multiple times right across everything. So I'm stamping about 3 or 4 times. I'm turning the block different directions. And and don't forget to go to the edge. And what I'm doing is, I want a lot of dottage on this. And like I said, you can go several times. I'm not even counting. I think some of these are 5. Closer to myself. Now, if it was bigger, you know, it would work better, but I wanted the softer look of this one versus the other one. But if you like the other one, go for it. There's several sets that have dotages. You don't have to use Forever Fern. I know there's several of them that have some type of dotage in. I know the Snowman, I think, has one. Looks supposed to be snow, but it works for dotage is dotage. Oh, I think we're almost there. And I will hold this up closer to the camera. I would try to zoom in, but unfortunately my camera does not like when I try to zoom in. It just goes all cattywampus on me, and oh, let me see if I need it anymore. Oh, a little bit in the center. Can't leave that stark white. And just give it a good look over to see if there's something you missed. There's one little more here. Because I want it to sort of be uniform, but, you know, as uniform as dotage can get. So let me hold this up a little closer. Focus. Doesn't like focusing either. For a new camera, it should work better, but it doesn't. Anyhow, that's what it looks like. So you can see the dottage in there. So now it's time to make some cards. So what I've pre-done is this is Lovely Label Pick-a-Punch tool. I used this side here. And all the dimensions of these labels of what size paper I used are in there. Going to be in the description for you. So I made me some labels. Just say happy birthday, little squares, rectangles. Cut them out, put them in there. Made 4 different colors, because we're going to mount these cards onto 4 different colors. We have Poppy Parade, Calypso Coral, Olive Garden. It must be getting close to lunchtime. Old Olive, and Succulent. Soft Succulent. So I'll show you how to cut this apart as soon as I move the rest of these stamps away so I don't accidentally touch anything. We'll get my trimmer. Now, if our base of our card is standard base, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4, we want to go 1/4 less. So we need to go at 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to look at this. I definitely want to make sure I get pomegranates on either side, but I do have to trim a little off. So I'm going to go with trimming from the side at 4 inches. I'm going to flip this one so I get more of the pomegranate. Bear with me for a moment. I have not had my glasses on when I'm doing this, and I'm trying to read the numbers, and I cannot read the numbers without glasses. And 4 inches. Now this piece here, this is great for decorating the inside of those, strip on the inside of your card, whatever. So I usually save those and put those on the inside. We're not decorating the inside of this card today. I'm just showing you how you can make this. So this one is going to go at 5 1/4. And we'll cut this one at 5 1/4. So you have another piece you could use. There's not much wastage on this. Sorry, you can't see the top of that. But you need to decide, you know, if your design, if you want more of the inside and less of the outside, then you do it a little differently. I actually am going to flip this because I don't want to cut into that flower there. I'd rather cut into the greenery on this side on this one. So we still have the large pomegranate piece there. So now we have our pieces cut. Now you can sit and play with your cards and figure out which direction you want them to go. So this is a top fold or a side fold. This is a tint or side. I did 2 different styles here. So, I mean, you can do any way you want. You can do the tent fold this way, side fold, standard, tent fold this way. So, but what I wanted to do is sort of, these are these side folds. What I wanted to do is sort of lay out on each of these and make a determination which one I want on each of the cards and which way I want the card to open. So this one here, this actually is can be a side fold this direction, and laying that way I think is quite pretty. So it's fold this way. So we're going to leave that one that way. This is, I have it sitting this direction right now, but I'm thinking that this would look really pretty as a standard fold this direction. Or we could use it as, maybe we should leave it as a tent fold because the pomegranate's at the bottom. So we'll leave that one that direction. But just sort of look at them. This is another tent fold and the pomegranate's sitting just in the right position there. But you know, you can do any way you want. I actually laid these out pretty good. I think we're going to leave that one that way too. So, like I said, these are very simple cards. It's a fast way to whip out 4 cards really quickly. And we'll just use your adhesive choice. Make sure your card is opening the right direction. Now I will go back and put sentiments and stuff in the inside later. But I wanted to at least show you these cut up really nice. You can cut them into slimline cards too. Work really good. I would like you to comment and let me know if you're interested in more of this type of video. One Sheet Wonders, I do like them. And this set sort of, with a few others thrown in, sort of, when I looked at the pomegranate, I thought there's so many different beautiful textures in there that it would, and the flower's so beautiful, that it would make a pretty card just this way. So, got that. Got our tags. I got sticky fingers. And we'll grab some dimensionals. I'm sorry, look, got a little warm. And start sort of laying out where you want to put your sort of look at where everything is. They're not all going to go in the same position. Probably going to go there on that one. And Okay. Where did old Olive go? He's hiding. They can all go in different positions, you know, where your leaves are. I personally don't want to cover up the pomegranate or too much of the flower, because in this one, that's too close to the top for me. Just go for a few there and nope, I'm going to go right there, sort of in between all of them. And the last one. So there's our 4 cards created from our one sheet that we stamped. So I hope you enjoy this very simple card. Please let me know what your thoughts are, if you like this type of stamping or you want to see something else. If you have something you want to learn how to do. Like I said, I've been doing this for almost 40 years or over 40 years. I guess it is over 40 years now. I'd be happy to teach you something that you would like to learn. If it's something I don't know, I have lots of friends who may already know how to do it, and I'll go figure it out, and then we'll both learn. So please subscribe. All the descriptions, products, dimensions, everything I've used will be listed in the bar below. There is a link to my email. There's a link to my online store. So please subscribe, and I hope to see you next time, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.